Hello, hi, and welcome to another game dev stream. Sorry I'm late. I was up late. Basically, I was up late last night because the game, the Summer Games Fest. I was watching that, and because I got to bed late, and I was already like running low on sleep anyway that day. So yeah, it was a bad. It was just I got to bed late. Woke up this morning a lot later than I intended. Still feel tired. Yeah, sorry about that. But gonna stream for like an hour or so, get some stuff done. Yeah, it'll be about an hour because I've got to go about 11:15, quarter past 11, so I've got to get ready for that. So yeah, I'll be streaming for like an hour. Let's do this. Still more than last Sunday, where I streamed for like 30 minutes because I was ill. I'm feeling a little better now. I think it was just like a really bad cold, but da, 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 da. So what we got to do? Last week I got a very rough main menu implemented. This week, what I want to do is I think I want to keep working on the map because we've got all the perks in, we've got the AI working a lot better now. It plays a lot nicer. There are still things I want to improve with it, but I've got to look into how to do that more because the AI is a lot better in terms of like. Oh yeah, they don't start automatically, these ones, do they? The AI is better in terms of following me, but they have problems when it comes to map one. Yeah, map one. They're having problems when it comes to following me around objects like here, for example. I can't remember where I put the default. Which one of these is the default at the moment? This one? Details. I think it's this one over here. Nope. This one down here. Yeah, this one. Turn that off. You leave that one on. So yeah, if we go in here, when they come around an object, they're really close to the wall. Like most of the time, they'll be like skirting around like the very. You see there, they go like the absolute shortest path. It doesn't look that bad, but I would like them to fan out a little bit away from the wall. Because it just looks like they're hugging the wall. Also, this actually might be big enough. I was a bit worried that this area would be too small, but it doesn't actually look that bad. Yeah, actually, this area, I think this area is relatively alright. kind of get a... You can kind of loop around them in the middle. And then, like, pick them off. Alright, that works. I probably should extend it out a little bit. Just to make it make more sense with here. So I'm going to do... Yeah. Move that there. Drag that. I know there's a better way of mapping a blockout, and I do want to look into that. I'll make sure all this is centered. It's relatively centered. I don't think that's something I ever did with this one, is center it. Say about that. Yeah, there we go. So now we want to... Get rid of all these invisible walls just to make it easier for myself. See it. Uh, put that there. That's about right. I'm just going to want to extend this out a bit. Like that. Bit more, I'd say. And of course, a nav mesh as well. There we go. Boom. Oh yeah, and I got them. Put it there so you can camp here if you want. That wall's thick for some reason. This corner needs something, I think. For now, I'm just going to add... No. These are going to be like floating filing cabinets. There we go. Get rid of... Oh, shit. Not that. That as well. This area is something I'm not entirely sure what to do with. The whole map is basically supposed to be parts of this world that have like been taken over into this other dimension. That's kind of like the whole gist I'm going for. So a lot of these in a way parts that so far we got like kind of just a random field area here. This is gonna be an area where there's like a bunch of junk is piled up here. That's the idea there. This is gonna just be a house with a basement. Then this will be like a big office block that's like somehow been taken, like kind of in. This here. I might have it so this part of the building is just like vanished and it's over here instead. Like that. I think that's what we're going to do. I like the sound of that. Right that there. So we got to go. So here will be. But yeah, it's this section here because originally, as I said, this. So the idea of this originally, and I might try and still get it to work, is that this area of the map just straight up wasn't going to exist. Have I got two fucking? Yeah, I have. Get rid of that one. Yeah, so this area of the map wasn't supposed to exist originally. This is going to just go like blah. And the map was basically just going to be this area here. And the idea was that the to get so that this was open here. There was going to be like a crack here or a big hole here. And then the idea was that you could jump down here and then either go down either here. To get to here, there was only two ways to get there. It was either you go through this teleporter here and then that teleporter down here, or you drop down from here. And if you drop down from here, you are stuck here and you have to go all the way back up. That was the original intention, but then I realised the problem with that is I don't know how to make AI jump. Like, I know how to make AI behave accordingly to the player. Like, you know, I know how to make him chase the player. I know how to make him... But I have no idea how the hell I even remotely get this to work. I'm guessing I'd need to basically make it so that if the player is in this area and they are up here or anywhere else, that their target would be to come over here to this section, then do a jump down animation down to here. That's my guess. Same with this, but I have no idea how on earth you go about doing that. That seems a bit out of my expertise. So for now, it's not gonna... So for now, this is basically how you're gonna get up and down. As for... So I'm gonna leave that area till last. So we've got this side of the map to a point where I'm happier with it. Again, it's always subject to change, but for now, I don't mind the block out of it. It's over here that gets me. So we've got... So this bridge here is going to be made up of random parts. It's this part here that I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing with. I think I might make this like a hedge garden. Because I put here rock, and I don't think rocks... Either I'm thinking a hedge. I'm thinking like a big, you know, like a bush garden. That'll be this section. Also, I kind of want to make it more interesting than just this. So I'm going to redo this. Here might be like rocks and other random objects. To be fair, this is another part which I'm pretty tempted to get rid of, this slope. And then this area here, at the moment, I literally think is just rocks. I don't actually have any idea what these cubes are going to be. At the moment, this is one that's completely up for debate. But yeah, I've got a better idea for this area. So what we're going to do is... shrink that. Get rid of these fucking invisible walls, man. There's so many. I have no idea what action I just tried to do there. I'm so sorry. I don't know if that was like some British accent or... I have no idea. That was I'm never doing that again. Oh, crap. I was trying to go for like... I'm actually not even sure what part of Britain. Fucking Geordie Shore kind of accent. What's the bloody... Essex, that's the one, yeah. And it just completely failed. I think I sounded more Indian. So I think rather than having, I think that part's fine, and that part there is also fine to be like that. But I think rather than just having this block here, we're gonna shrink that, put that there, put that there. Gonna have another edge going like there, and then one. Kind of like that, is what I'm thinking. Drag that there. These can come out way further right. This will be like the center of it. And so the problem, the problem I actually have got now is that this volume, is actually this spawn area is actually, if you noticed, a bit rectangular, and this area is like an L. Now I'm going to leave it like, okay, so the idea with this being this way is that if you come into here, then they can start spawning here. And if you come like here, they will begin spawning over here. Whereas if you are here, they won't. But they will come from here. And that's kind of a... I might look into ways around that, because that's kind of a limitation with using rectangular spawn pools. It's the same thing as if they go... So this spawn and volume is going to be... No, it does. It's going to be like there. And there's going to have to be a little bit of a gap. So the idea is going to be over that barrier. So the idea is that this... hopefully... Yeah. Hopefully that works. That's the idea. They can come down here. This section, I'm not happy with. I'm not happy with this section either. But yeah, this area, I'm hoping this plays alright. I'm gonna go grab the spawners just to check. I gotta look into how to reset my thing on the right here, because this is a pain in the ass. Nope. But yeah, as I said, yesterday I was watching the Summer Games Fest, and there are actually some announcements I'm pretty excited about. There's quite a few like cool looking indie games coming out. Quite looking forward to the new characters coming to Street Fighter 6. At the moment, I only really play Cammy because she's fucking good. I say that, and I've also just brought Tekken, so. I want to see if I just put this as the active volume, will they start spawning here? Do I have to put the active spawners? I do have to select the active spawners. There we go. Crap. Preferably don't fall off the edge. So the idea being now is that there's a little bit more area here. I kind of want to make this bigger. Kind of want this to come out more this way. So that this one, rather than being there, is like here. And you got another one that's like there. Like that. I think rather than a hedge, I want to do a fountain. Get rid of that. You're going to add in a cylinder. It's a cylinder. Oh god, it's bright. There we go, dragged it down. But yeah, also one thing I saw in the Summer Games Fest is that there's a lot of new indie publishing arms, which I don't reckon I'll ever. I don't know if I'll like be able to ever get like a grant or anything from them. Not a grant, but like support from a publisher to help with the game. But like seeing that there's a lot more of these things coming out now for indie developers is great. Because you got Outer Sloth that's just come out. You've also got Big Mode last year, and they've just made Animal Well. Not they, but they published Animal Well and helped the developer make it like get like as big as it did. Apparently that game's really good. So yeah, there's a lot to look forward to in terms of like there's a lot of opportunities beginning to crop up for indie games as I think they're getting a lot more praise and focus from not only a lot of people, God, they're getting a lot more praise and focus from a lot of people now because they are kind of, in a way, the one of the like last few places to actually get good games. Don't get me wrong, AAA games can be good. There are a lot of good AAA games out there, but recently it's been a lot more. The prices are going up, the monetization's getting just like obnoxious, and I think a lot of people are getting sick of it, so they're moving on to indie games more than AAA. Which sucks because I mean, not doesn't suck, but worded that weird. It's it's brilliant for people like me and people who make indie games. But it also sucks it sucks to see the AAA industry become what it has because it used to be the like. I mean, they are supposed to be the standard of the industry. That's kind of like they are the top level, and at the moment, it just doesn't feel like that, which kind of sucks. It doesn't feel like any AAA, like a lot, not any, but a lot of AAA games nowadays don't feel like they're made to be fun, or it just feels like they're meant to be as like almost appealing to buy as possible. Tell you what, that sliver on the side, I actually reckon get rid of that. And that's kind of what it just feels. It doesn't feel like games like that are designed to be like enjoyable. It just seems like, yep, we have made this to be as profitable as possible sometimes. And it sucks because like there are some games that because like the visual like the main honestly the main thing that seems like AAA has going for it is that the games can look really fancy with their higher budgets. That's genuinely kind of like one of the biggest selling points at this point because their gameplay a lot of the time isn't being the bounds of gameplay, the bounds of like what you can do inside of the game just doesn't feel like it's ever being pushed. And the only thing that does feel like it's being pushed is my graphics card. And it sucks because like I like AAA games sometimes. But for the most part, indie, if you want like a truly innovative experience that is at its core, at its main core, is normally focused on being either fun or telling a really good story. I think indie games are your best bet, which is great because they've got a lot more of a focused vision, and a lot more of a. It's more. A lot of indie games, granted, they are products; they do need to make money, but they're a lot more. The developers and kind of because a lot of the developers self-publish it sometimes. They're a lot more driven by passion to make a good product. Whereas the people who are at the top, making all the decisions for the AAA games, not the developers, the people at the very top, at these like big companies, their main focus is making money, and it makes sense. It's a business. We all get that, but it does feel like sometimes them making money kind of prioritizes areas that, yeah, it's just not great. I mean, it's telling when some of these games can release in barely functional states, but you can bet damn well that the shop works, and that it's got a battle pass and 15 different currencies that you can buy, and time savers and all this stuff. And what gets me is that sometimes this isn't even exclusive to multiplayer games. You kind of expect it nowadays in your COD and your fucking things like multiverses where it's like a free to play game. That's not even AAA. That is actually indie, I think. But you expect it in stuff like that. But then you've got like single player games like having time savers, like with Assassin's Creed Origins and Valhalla and stuff, and it's like that's just ridiculous. Why are you paying me to skip the single? It's not like getting you don't need engagement with a single player game. Well, you shouldn't. The idea with this, they're trying to make it, because the thing with multiplayer games is multiplayer games are based off engagement. Um, so the idea of a multiplayer game isn't that you play it once, you enjoy it, you play through it, you enjoy it, and you put it down. It's supposed to be fun, something that you keep coming back to, and they do this with like various different engagement techniques. You got your battle pass, you got your leveling up, you've got getting everything to max, getting all the skins, getting all the achievements, getting a high rank, things like that, or just being a fun game. That's there's always an option, but most people seem to forget about that. And unlike, I'm gonna get rid of all these invisible walls as I'm talking. So unlike multiplayer games, where partly to support the game's continued development and adding new features, as well as to get money from it. Yeah, they kind of need to make it so the players stay focused and engaged, so they'll drop new content all the time. The single player games shouldn't need that. Single player games should be focused on releasing the game in a finished playable state that players can go through. You can add replayability, that's fine. Making a game replayable will probably make more people buy it because they'll see it more worthwhile. But you don't need to, if that makes sense. As long as your game delivers the experience that you've intended and people enjoy, you don't need to do like all these engagement techniques of grinding out this, time savers, and you shouldn't. I mean, like single player games shouldn't have a microtransaction store. Like that's just like my opinion. You can have like DLCs. You can have skin DLC. If you want cosmetic DLCs, fine. But I don't think single player games should ever have like things like time savers. That's just ridiculous to me. because the whole point of a single player game is that because you don't need really you don't need single player games to be grindy or anything. Like, why do you need like to pad it out? If as long as your game's like a decent length, I guess. But like you don't need to because you don't. The person's paid the money. You don't really need to make it like go on forever. It's not like a live service game where the idea is it goes on forever and people will then continuously spend money because they keep playing it. Because most of these games don't have like a lot, they don't really have like a big monetization thing because they're single player. Most like post game revenue will come for single player games comes from like special editions, DLC, which can be cosmetic or can be gameplay, and I think that's fine. I mean, like in both single player and multiplayer games, but like paying a small amount for like some silly costumes in a JRPG or something. I think that's fine. Let Persona do it with like their costume DLCs, and they're actually like reasonably priced. That's like one of the main things. Is just like how much does it cost? Actually, let me check Steam, not SteamDB, just Steam. Persona 5. Oh yeah, the DLC isn't on here because it's already included. See if I can find it on like PS Store. Persona 5 DLC. PlayStation Store, here we are. Well, that one's free anyway. Persona 5. Just put Persona 5 in. Can you even buy the original Persona 5? Yeah, you can. Okay, so like costume sets. A lot of these are actually free because they're Halloween and Christmas costumes. But you got like one of them which is like £5 for you got like £5, £5. This one's pretty pricey, but it's all of the personas to be fair. There's a lot of these which are like, yeesh. Some of them are expensive. This one comes with a changes your background music as well, and it's still $5.79. I think like $5.79. There's something like kind of relatively small. That's not. But yeah, it's not like. I wouldn't say those DLCs are exactly the most overpriced thing. Like, £5 for a skin, it's not compared to some games now, which will be like I think the last time I've seen a skin for £5 was a good while ago, to be honest. Most cosmetics now are like easily like £10 to £20. They are expensive, and don't get me wrong, the caliber of skins from back when, that's another thing to consider. It's like the level of effort and detail that are in some of these cosmetics now. Like compare the COD skin DLCs from like Ghosts, which were like a couple of quid, like the Space Cats. It wasn't a skin; it was just like a camo, and it was just the camo. It's just the camo. That's all it was. It was a couple of quid, as well as a banner and stuff. But comparing that to, let's say, something one of the other skins from COD nowadays, which is like, oh, it's got all these animations and it's a completely new model and it's all this stuff and it has unique reload animations and all these different effects built in. Or like the Valorant guns, where all of them a lot of them have like unique reloads. Or the a lot of the Fortnite skins where they've got a lot of different characters in there that people like. You know, things like that. It's like some of the quality of skins over the years and cosmetic items have improved. That's true. But I don't know if the cost necessarily reflects like how much they've improved. Because I feel like the cost is like gone up like 3 times as much as it does. It feels nowadays like microtransactions are more like macrotransactions, and it's like people buy them, and that's kind of the concerning thing. Is that because people buy a lot of these, it's the market's been set for it. That's the reality of it. It's one of those. God, nah. Because yeah, it's kind of one of those things of the market's been set by people buying. By people buying them. It's people have always said like vote with your wallets. Yeah, it's happened. It's how we've got here. That's kind of the long and short of it. That is genuinely what's happened. People did. Now we're here. And it sucks. It sucks because the industry games are brilliant. Games are absolutely amazing. I love them. They offer a level to me, and this is why I prefer this is why I love games so much. Is that any other medium? This is like the only medium that I know of where you not only get something you can physically interact with, but you also get something that can tell great narrative stories and all that stuff, just like films and just like books. That's why I love games so much. Is it's something that is unlike any other medium. Because again, it's not just look, we've come a very long way from what games used to be. With the whole, with like pretty much only being arcade games, we've come an incredibly long way since then. And now the kind of gates are open for anyone to create games. Indie games are bigger than ever because there are so many tools out there, and a lot of those tools are free and have a lot of like guidance and tutorials to help people get to where they want to be. And I love that, and I think that's brilliant. It's no longer a thing which is like not. I mean, it's still difficult to get into. It's incredibly difficult to get into, but it's now more open for people to learn and make their own experiences now than ever. Because back with like the N64 era, pretty much a lot of games from like the early days, pretty much everything had to be made from the ground up. Whereas now there's a lot more standardization with game engines and tool sets and softwares and all this stuff, which helps people just get started making games. without having to have like a big team behind them. And the people with the big team, they can now focus on making the game. It's a win-win for both sides. The bigger teams can focus on actually making the game more, and the smaller teams can also focus on actually making a game. The only problem with standardization is that it does lead to a lot of games feeling the same. Because everything's running on... Because a lot of things are now running on the same engine, with the same kind of rendering stuff and all that, it kind of does lead to a lot of games looking and feeling relatively similar. And it also leads to a lot of people cutting corners and making asset flips. Because it's quick and cheap to do that. And making like an asset flip would take no time at all, genuinely. It's like, what a lot of them will do is they'll use like the Lyra starting pack from Unreal, just get a map, change the first person character, and that will be it. And then they'll slap NFTs onto it. Yay! That's something I don't see the point of in gaming. I genuinely do not see how NFTs remotely do anything for the gaming industry. Like, the whole argument was that you could own your assets, but you don't, even with NFTs. Because at the end of the day, it is entirely up to developers and the companies owning the game to support said NFT, to make sure that NFT has a function in the game. And one of the other things was that you could take I think they've watched like SAO and with the whole, you can transfer your character and all your stuff over, and thought that is like an actual thing that can happen. Because unless the games work together, it's like, no. And even if they did, games have different art styles. Everything's not just one concrete art style. I know like a lot of AAA games look very similar because they're all realistic looking games. So maybe there it could work, but in like the indie game scene or even a competitive multiplayer scene, like Valorant looks very different to CS, looks very different to Overwatch, looks very different to... And not only do they look very different, they play very different. In CS, items are just skins, whereas in, say, Fortnite, items are also actually the weapons. It's like, I know Fortnite items, like skin items, don't change the effects, but it's one of those things of like, you can't transfer items from one game to another without someone doing the work. It's not just gonna work. The main thing, games use scale very differently. If you have a look at, even with the same studio, I think it was, what's that game that's from software? Armored Core. That uses like an incredibly massive scale because of how big the characters are. And I think it's like something ridiculous, like the character will like blitz through Elden Ring's map because of just how fast and big they are. So let's say you want to transfer something from Armored Core, it would probably like dwarf anything in Elden Ring, except for maybe like the big bosses. It's just not something that you can do. So I don't really understand how people thought it was going to work. And again, at the end of the day, it's kind of like, at the very least, the main argument is that, you can sell the items after the fact. Which is, Yeah, it's true, but like even if the game server shuts down, if it's in your wallet, you can sell it. But at the same time, who's going to care about an item in a wallet that doesn't work with anything? It's like cool. This item is like a legendary item from this game, and it does absolutely nothing. The reason trading cards, even like banned ones, have like a good physical value is because they are physical items. At the very least, you have it in your hand. The reason why CS skins have a good physical value, not physical value, but a good digital value, is because they are used in a very popular game. If no one played the game, no one cares about the item. And if the game doesn't exist, the item might as well not exist. Even if it does exist in like a separate wallet that you can trade. Yeah, and another thing as well is this is the main point thing with these like NFT games is a lot of the people who make the NFT games, they make their own NFT like wallets, and not wallets, but they make their own like collection of items and stuff. Why would you not? Why would any company bother supporting another like games items? Where do they make money? They don't make any money from that. What they do make money from is from you buying their NFT items. So why on earth would they ever make it compatible? It doesn't logistically. It doesn't make sense. Like in terms of money, it doesn't make sense. And I'm not a big fan of doing it for like not. I obviously you do game dev because for various reasons. For me, I want it to be a job. I do want this. Maybe in the future, like 10 years or something. But I know that it's a very long ways off, if ever. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, I don't understand why people. You say? I'm back. But yeah, it's one of those things I don't really understand with a lot of because like people make NFT games for money. That is like purely what they are for. They are not for. They are a profit thing, and most of the people who play them are also there for profit. That is literally what they're for, and fair enough. But at the very like it's like we can own the assets and transfer them to other games, but no NFT get a developer in their right mind would ever like incorporate other NFTs without getting some money for it. So why on earth would anyone do it? It's a dumb system. It doesn't work. So that whole concept is just flawed. It's just one of those things which just I don't ever see taken up. It's the same thing with like I mean, we're seeing it with AI, how a lot of people rather than AI being used to enhance game development, it's instead being used to replace game development, as well as other creative industries as well, like art and video and music and voice actors and all these things. And it sucks. But yeah, not fun. But yeah, it's like people go into game dev for different reasons. But I think the main reason why a lot of developers go into game dev is because they genuinely care about making games. They have a big passion for games, and they want to make more games. They want to make their own games. That's why I've got into it. And yeah, I'd love to do this full time, so that my days are spent doing the thing I really love. That's whereas I think a lot of these people who make the NFT games and stuff, there's a reason why a lot of them are asset flips. It's because they just want to get in, make money, get out. And it's a bit. That's fair enough. People, it's a business. But there's a good reason why the general population doesn't care about those kind of games. Anyway, that's enough of a. That's kind of like a mini rant, wasn't it? Enough ranting about the state of things. I am gonna have to end the stream there. Again, I know it's been a short stream. I got on like an hour late, and then I've got to leave. But yeah, gonna end the stream here. I've got to get ready to go. I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.